Hey Pirates, I'm Sean Adler.
And I'm Luke Jordan. Since it's Alumni Month here at Palatine, we got to interview former Palatine High School graduate and now the Action 5 News sportscaster and sports reporter, that is Cassie Carlson. So we thought that you'd like to see some of the interviews, so here's some of the footage. Roll it.
So my real name is Cassie Chaplinsky. I can spell it for you. Chaplinsky. So yes, I do have a TV name, but my real name is Cassie Chaplinsky.
Oh yeah, okay, I got the next question. All right. So what was your high school experience like at Palatine, and what's different now from back then when you were here?
Yeah, so my high school experience, I would say it's probably pretty traditional, or what people say would be traditional. I was heavily into sports, played volleyball mostly, and played for the school, and also played club volleyball. So I probably put more effort into that than I did maybe school, which I don't know if they want to hear that, but that was like my passion. So I spent a lot of time, playing sports, but also was involved with some other things like Best Buddies, took a lot of electives to try and find my interests. I took art, I took CAD, but really I prioritized sports for the most part, which probably is why I ended up in my current career. How it's changed, I mean, honestly, I have not been back in a while. The last time I was back, they obviously redid the library and everything. It looks totally different inside. The new athletics hallway was definitely revamped. But they've definitely added stuff. We did not have PTV. We had no TV class or anything like that. So I'm sure that they have added more and more things to try and, get you guys exposure to different careers and stuff, which is awesome, because I remember going into my first college class and I was in a class with a bunch of people who had a TV class in high school. And I was like, wow, they know so much already. And I always was jealous of them. So the experience you guys are getting right now is very important.
I think it is too. I'm guessing if there's a PTV, you would like to be the sports anchor.
Oh yes, totally. I know. I think so. We had something. I went to Sunling, and I definitely did morning announcements at Sunling. And then I went to Virginia Lake, and I'm pretty sure we had some morning announcements at VL too. And I'm sure, I don't know if they have archives. I don't think I want to see them, but yes, I would have wanted to be a sports anchor. I don't know exactly what sparked my interest. When I was in high school and junior high were the same years that the Blackhawks were going through their dynasty era, and was definitely watching every single game. And they had their rinkside reporter, who was Sarah Kustok at the time. And I always just remember thinking, if I could do that job, that would be awesome. You get to go watch the game, you get a front row seat, you get to talk to the players, get to know them. And now here I am.
Yeah, that is pretty nice. So did you have a favorite teacher at Palatine High School, and why?
I know you guys are asking me the tough questions. I'm not singling just one out. I wrote down several who probably you guys wanted me to just single one out. I see how it is. I mean, so many, honestly, so many. Mrs. Richardson, she was my math teacher, but she was also my volleyball coach. And I just always really idolized her. She played volleyball in college. She could always keep up with us in volleyball and working out. And then in math, I was not the best math student, but she got me to get it. So I just have always respected her so much. I took art, like I said, Mrs. Bartlett. That was just one of my favorite periods because I could go paint, and I just thought that was so cool. Mr. Vosberg was always one of the coolest math teachers, again, because somehow I understood math in his class and I did not come easily to me. Van Grimbergen in history. I always just spent lunches with her and talked to her about stuff outside of history and stuff like that. And then Philippek in science. He was probably my bio teacher freshman year. I played soccer freshman year, and he was my coach. And if you guys have Philippek, or if you see him and you bring up my name, I guarantee I know what he'll say, because I was actually punched in the face after a soccer game, and he was my coach, and that's probably what he remembers about me most. But he was always awesome. But there's honestly so many teachers at Palatine. I could name a handful more, but those are some that definitely stick out.
Yeah, those are some cool stories.
You got punched in the face.
Yeah, I got punched in the face after a soccer game, a JV soccer game.
Was it an opposing player?
Yes.
Did you guys win or
For the love of
lose?
sports.
No, we lost. We lost. And this girl was just not happy with me. And so that's what happened. And I was like, you guys won the game anyway. I was not happy. Now I look back and I laugh at it. But yeah, that was an experience.
That is quite interesting. I did not know that.
And then, so our next question is, how did you become interested in sports reporting?
Yeah, so I think a couple of things. One was just playing volleyball. You know, I mentioned I played club volleyball, and that was majority of my high school life. I practiced every day after school, and my club was about 30 minutes away. So I would, you know, get home, grab a snack, go drive to practice. We practiced for 3 to 4 hours, and I would drive home at night. And that was every day. And then on weekends, we would play in tournaments. Either they were out of state or an hour away. And so that really kind of, you know, my life was surrounded around sports, and I had the opportunity to go play in college, but I really wanted to go to a big school. So I kind of like wanted to find a way to stick around sports. I'm very competitive. This is a very competitive industry, and kind of just like translated right into sports broadcasting. And so I decided to go to the University of Illinois, and I wanted that big school experience in the Big Ten. And like I said, didn't play volleyball, but I was instantly like covering volleyball. I got to cover football and basketball, golf, and all these other sports. And so it just kind of like led into a career of keeping up with sticking in sports and having a life that literally revolves around sports.
Yeah, that's my plan. Like I'm playing hockey and lacrosse right now, and when I get to college, I don't know if I exactly want to play hockey, but I want to like try going to a college where they have sports and they have sports telecasting where I could announce for them and all that stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, same as I think with me for football. That's
Yeah, I mean, there's like definitely pros of both, because, you know, like if you wanted to be an analyst, now I struggle being an analyst because I didn't play in college where there are analysts who played. But I mean, you talk about like the telecasting. I was on Big Ten Network by the time I was a junior in college calling volleyball games. So that was like really cool. You know, I instantly got involved. I was a team reporter for the University of Illinois and Illini Athletics. So I would do like post-practice interviews with the head coaches and some of the players. I worked for Big Ten Network. So I did like production stuff, but I also got to like sideline some games and some basketball games. So all that stuff literally puts you way ahead of the game when you go and look for a job, you know, and have to start making money and get out in the real world.
That does sound like an advantage to like get into a job with that. That's a really smart just strategy. So I think you just clarified that. What college did you end up going to?
Yep, University of Illinois.
University of Illinois. What opportunities were you given in college, and what did you do to pursue them? We kind of went through that one.
I can go through it again if you need me to.
Okay. So where did you go after college, and what opportunities opened up for you to pursue? Because like we watched your like highlight reel, we saw that you're at Memphis and like doing a ton of stuff in Tennessee. So how did you get those opportunities?
Yeah. So one thing in this business is that opportunities don't necessarily come to you. You have to go after them. I always say like, this is a profession made for go-getters and self-starters. And so, I graduated from the University of Illinois in 2017, and I had a couple job offers, but they were to be news reporters, and they were in very, very, very small towns. That's another thing about working in TV. You know, there's about 200 TV markets in the country, and, you know, 1, 2, 3 is New York, LA, Chicago, and the bottom is like Alpena, Michigan, places you've probably never heard of. And so I had 2 offers. One was in Tupelo, Mississippi, which is the birthplace of Elvis. And the other was in Idaho Falls, Idaho. And I just remember thinking, I don't know if I can do that. Like, I'm willing to move, but those seemed like very, very small towns, and they were for news jobs. And I didn't want to be a news reporter necessarily. I wanted to do sports. So I held out. And the summer after I graduated, I moved to Charleston, South Carolina, and worked at the Citadel, which is a small military college there. And I called games for ESPN, and I was a team reporter and worked in their football recruiting office. And then from there was like, I need to get into like a professional newsroom. So I took a job as a photographer, actually, back in Champaign, so where the University of Illinois was, and I took a photog position, and I was there for about 2 months, and I was like working with the on-air people, and I was like, I really want to be on air, and so I was not happy there. And in TV, you sign contracts. I was not under a contract either. So I remember driving to an Illinois basketball game, like, I really want to be on air. Like, I need to make this happen. And I looked for a job at the job listings, and I saw an opening for a sports reporter in Lubbock, Texas. And I was like, I'm pretty sure that's where Texas Tech is. And my criteria was always kind of, I wanted to cover Power 5 or pro sports. I was spoiled because I went to a Big Ten school. I mean, I got to interview Lovie Smith as a junior in college. So like stuff like that, I was spoiled, and that was kind of my criteria. So I applied for it. They emailed me back like the same day, and they flew me out. I remember being in Lubbock, Texas, which is way West Texas, not close to anything, basically a desert. And I was driving around like, it's really different here. But I had a mentor who said, at some point you just got to say, okay, I'm going to take it and go for it. And it ended up being the best move I could have ever made. I worked in a small station, but everyone had just pretty much graduated from college. So I met some of my lifelong best friends. I covered Texas Tech sports. I got there in the middle of basketball season, and that year they went to the Elite Eight. The next basketball season, they went to the national championship game. I got to go to the Final Four and cover them there. Then you go into baseball season. Both years I was there, they made it to the College World Series. And then my first football season was with Cliff Kingsbury. So he was there. He then got fired after that season and failed up to the NFL. And then my second season, they hired a guy named Matt Wells, kind of a no-name guy, but I got to travel with the football team. So I got to, travel the country, go into football games, Big 12 football games. And then we also started a high school football show, which won a national award. So really, I was like covering big time sports. I just missed Patrick Mahomes. Everyone always asks me that. But
Yeah,
I got
was just
to cover,
about to ask that.
Yeah, I just missed Mahomes. But I got Cliff's last season. Kyler Murray came through, Sam Ellinger, like all those guys I got to see play. And then you look at Tech basketball, like Jarrett Culver was the guy that got drafted in the lottery. And it's funny because now he's actually in Memphis. But after 2 years, I signed a 2-year contract, and I just wanted a bigger market. I wanted to cover pro sports. And so I had a couple offers, but Memphis was the best career move for me. So I moved here in February of 2020. I was here for about 2 weeks, and my first assignment was to go cover the conference basketball tournament in Fort Worth, Texas. And I went down there. I remember I was in an In-N-Out drive-through, and I got a notification that the NBA had suspended the season. And I'm like, oh my goodness, like what is about to happen? The next day I woke up and the conference basketball tournament was canceled. I get a call from my boss like, hey, you need to get to the arena. You're going to be live all day covering this. And then you're chasing around, coaches, players, like what in the world is happening? But since then, sports have kind of gotten back to normal. So I work at the NBC station. I'm a sports reporter and sports anchor, and we cover the Memphis Grizzlies. We cover Memphis Tigers, both basketball and football. We cover the Cardinals AAA team. The Redbirds are here. And then we also have a semi-pro soccer team, and then also high school sports. So it's a sports crazed town. Like right now, the NBA started Monday, college basketball started Monday. We are in the thick of football season. So every day is different, but I mean, I got to cover the Grizzlies in the playoffs. I don't know if you've heard anything about Memphis Tiger basketball, but it's coached by Penny Hardaway, and his staff is now Penny Hardaway, Larry Brown, who is a Hall of Fame coach, the only coach to ever win an NCAA and NBA championship, and then also Rasheed Wallace, who was also an NBA champion. So it's like a star-studded staff. They have the #1 recruiting class in the country right now. And I was just at their practice yesterday, like, it was wild. Like, it was like one of those like pinch me moments. I've had several of those, but I was like, I don't know where to look. There are so many like legends in one room, and it was the coolest thing ever. So we cover them. I host the coaches shows for the University of Memphis, and then I also sideline and call some games on ESPN.
That's super cool. That's awesome.
And last question probably, is there any advice you want to give to the future Palatine graduates? Like, what did you learn that could help them out in the future? Just like in general, I guess.
Well, I think the first thing is to just be a nice person. Like that will get you so much further than a lot of other things. I think that Palatine, I think we all kind of have like a chip on our shoulder, and Palatine doesn't get a lot of credit for a lot of things, but there's so many things that I like do now that I'm like, that has to be because of where I grew up. There are so many opportunities in Palatine, like take advantage of every class and every elective you like that is an awesome experience, and that's like a self-starter move. Like use that to your advantage, like post your stuff, like with social media and everything, like you can literally create your own following that will put you ahead of so many other people. So just always be nice to people, respect people, work hard. And I always tell people now, like, it's cool to have a hobby and it's cool to have a dream, and don't let anyone tell you otherwise. And if it's your dream, like do what you can and go after it. Like, I feel like sometimes in high school, people are like, oh, well, if you're not doing this, you're not cool. None of that matters. It literally does not matter. Work hard, be nice, and go after what you want.
I agree. That is some really good advice. Thank you so much. We'll make sure they hear that. That's all we got for this interview. Thank you so much for coming and just helping out with us. And thank you for the advice with the commentating, because that is a good idea. Get the stuff on YouTube, give me like all that stuff. So thank you so much.
Post it wherever you can. I mean, I was telling someone recently, like, if you have a phone and you have Twitter, like, take your phone, shoot your stuff, put it on Twitter, and then it's out there, and you never know who's going to watch. Like, you never know who's watching, trust me. And so the more you can do now, the more confident you're going to be, the better you're going to be. Like if I showed you saw my reel now, but if I showed you my first reel that I ever made, you'd be like, whoa, why did anyone hire this girl? Like, it's all about repetitions. It's all about experience. And like, if you want to do it, like you can do it. Like, trust me, you can do it. It just takes hard work and it takes time. But if you're determined, you'll get there.
All righty. Thank you so much. Have a good rest of your day. And that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. If you guys ever need anything, just let me know.
It was nice meeting you. And
nice meeting you. Have a good one.
You too. Bye.
Bye.
And that, Pirates, concludes our interview with PHS alumni Cassie Carlson. Have a great day.
And go Pirates!